What's up, guys? Honda ACTYs? The Honda ACTYs? Honda ACTY, guys. What's up? So I was gonna do an oil change. My first oil change on the Honda ACTY that I just imported from Japan. It's got 4,600 kilometers on it, so it's probably had just a handful of oil changes, if that. We did check it when it came over here off the boat, and it was still pretty honey color, so it's probably fine, but who knows how old it is. I think it might have been serviced back in September before it went to auction, so it's probably still good, but I'm going to be able to sleep better at night knowing that the oil is fresh and we're not going to burn any bearings up or anything in this guy. So I know oil changes are pretty basic and easy, but I'll just kind of show you what I do. My sequence of events for changing the oil, and some of it will kind of help you out if you're a van owner anyways. I mean, I know the trucks and the vans are the same, but the vans are a little bit different as far as oil filling goes. For instance, to release the little cap that covers the oil fill, there's a button right there. So you pull that and it releases that lid right there so you can get access to the oil. So anyways, you're just gonna need a few things. Obviously you're gonna need oil. I'm using the 5W30 Liqui Moly oil. It's green. I'm pretty sure it's green. Stuff is pretty slick looking. This is designed for Hondas, so that's why I'm gonna run this 5W30 Liqui Moly, Moly Gen, and specifically says Honda on it. There's different, obviously, Liqui Moly oils designed for different manufacturers. So that's the oil I'm gonna use. Overkill? Yeah, I'm sure it is, but you know what? How often you change the oils in these things, at least for me, because you're not really driving them. I'm not really driving them that much, so probably change them once a year. I'm also going to add Liqui Moly Ceratec, which is like imagine like a ceramic coating for the inside of your engine. It just kind of coats everything with this ceramic brown tan goo, and I think it just kind of helps lubricate things a little better. I did them in my sandbars, and afterwards it's probably all in my head, but I swear the engines run smoother. Again, it's probably all in my head, but I'm going to add that as an oil additive on top of the 3 quarts of the Liqui Moly oil. The oil filter I'm going to use is the PIAA magnet oil filter, so pretty slick oil filter. The Z8-M, it's got a magnet in it. These can only be picked up in Japan. I do sell these, so if you want to get fancy with an oil filter, I got these in my store. So these are really nice. I use these on all my other trucks, and so far they've been great. They also actually make them for, you know, regular vehicles. Like I use them on the Lexus RX 350 we have. That's really nice. Just all around, PIAA is all around a good company, I think. But prior to doing any of all of that starting, I like to run seafoam in it. Since this is going to be the first time I'm changing the oil, I want to run some seafoam in it just to make sure we get out any funky stuff inside the engine. Do this, if you're listening to me, do that at your own caution or whatever, because I mean, you'll get the guys who say, oh, well, you're just going to drop gunk using that stuff, and then it's going to get sucked up into your oil pump, or something, your pickup, and clog the screen on your pickup or something and damage the motor. I have done this on all my other trucks, and I haven't had any issues, knock on wood. They haven't really been that disgusting where I was too concerned about it. There was some Someone's sneezing. I thought one of my birds was getting attacked. I hope that's somebody sneezing. Anyways, I'm gonna run some seafoam into prior changing the oil. So I'm going to add, yeah, an ounce of quart. So these are about 3 quarts of oil. So we're gonna add 3 ounces of that. I'm gonna run it, get it warmed up, so then when we drop the oil, all of it comes out and it's not just slowly coming out because it's cold, because it is pretty cold. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that right now. So we're gonna add 3 ounces of the sea foamer roamer. Let's see here. And we're gonna add it to the oil fill. So like I was saying, the trucks are a little different than the vans. The vans have the caps that cover the lids. So hit that button, pull it, and it will release the cap. Then you have access to the filler. We're gonna pour this in there. Okay, so I got it poured in there. We're gonna start the van and let it get warmed up. While that's warming up, what you're gonna need for tools is 17 mil for the oil drain plug. I got this fancy dancy magnet oil drain plug thing from Craftsman. My dad got it for me. It works really good. Kind of loosen it up and then pull it out. You don't get any oil on you. Also, what you're gonna need is, it's good to replace the drain plug little crush washer, or the little washer. It's a little aluminum washer. I sell these as well in my store. So oil filter, this, yeah, little basic maintenance stuff I have in my store if you're looking for something. So we're gonna let this thing warm up for a little bit and then we'll get ready to drop the oil. Also, what I did was, if you notice, the pan, the oil pan on these things, they're pretty flat. So as soon as you lift up the rear end to get, I have it on wheel ramps. So as soon as you get on the wheel ramps, it kind of puts that thing at not so much draining level. So what I did was I put the back on wheel ramps, and then I put a jack in the front and jacked up the front of the van, so it's now tilting. So the angle for the drain, the oil will drain out better than it would if it was just sitting on wheel ramps. I want to try to get all of that oil and seafoam out of there so it's not in there constantly. So that's maybe a little trick. Go on wheel ramps, or if you jack it up the front and the back, just make sure the front's a little bit higher than the back so you get a little better angle to drain. Okay, so let's drain the oil now. 17 millimeter drain plug tool. This is for the sissies who don't want to get oil on their hands. Bingo. So that worked pretty good. A little limp noodle here. So it's kind of a cool little tool. And then it's got the crush washer that looks pretty much brand new. So probably don't need to replace it, but I got it, so I'll replace it anyways. Clean the drain plug up a little bit. I think I'm actually gonna jack up the front a little bit more. Okay, so we're gonna let all that drain. There you can see the jack up there, kind of tilting it a little bit more towards the back. It's kind of funky. The thing doesn't have much angle to it when you get it up. They're probably thinking these things are gonna go on a probably straight up lift, and if it was flat, then yeah, it'd probably drain, but not if you jack up on one end or do wheel ramps like I'm doing. That drain angle isn't very good. So yeah, so now we're gonna do the oil filter, which I've heard horror stories about the oil filters on these things. Apparently Honda in Japan would torque these things on there with red Loctite. So let's see how hard it is to pull the oil filter off of this guy. So obviously the oil filter is up in front of the drain, the oil pan. So I'm gonna go around and take it off. All right, let's see how tight this sucker is. Oh gosh. Oh no, that's not too bad actually. I guess King Kong didn't, Godzilla or King Kong didn't tighten this one on there. So we'll let that drain. Yeah, that oil is pretty, it's not very dark at all. Whoops. And I will leave the drain plug off when I do the oil filter, because almost every single time, as soon as you release the oil filter, way more oil comes out the drain plug. So as you can see, it's really pouring back out now. It's kind of like it opens it up and lets it breathe. Make sure there's no O-ring up there, got stuck on there from the old filter. And let's clean it up a bit. Clean up any spillage, of course. Keep your area clean. So these filters come with a plastic cover on the bottom. Make sure you leave that plastic cover on when you jam it in there. Keeps it a good seal. That's a joke, make sure you take that off. I've seen some memes where people leave the ceramic on the oil filter, and yeah, they ain't filtering their oil. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of the oil, rub some on the O-ring, and then we're going to put that guy on there. So that's on there. New oil filters on there. Let's put the drain plug back in. So now let's put the old plug in there. Don't get too crazy tightening it on there. Just snugged up. Snugged up should do it. That's why they have the little washer. Okay, so oil filter has been changed. Drain plug has been put back on. There's our old Honda oil filter. So that makes me feel good. It was serviced using Honda parts, which is always a good sign. And now that we have that all drained, we're gonna add our oil. Okay, so like I was saying, the vans have this little button here that you pull, and it's going to release the oil cap on your van. So the first thing we're going to start off by putting into the engine is the Ceratec. This stuff is good for every 20,000 miles. So it's not like your typical oil additive where you add it every single oil change. It's good for 20,000 miles, which is going to last a very long time in these in this engine for sure. So I'll shake it up a little bit. So it's kind of like a tan color. It's kind of funky. And we're going to remove our oil lid. I'm going to pour this guy in. So we're gonna add this in there. Like Folger says, good to the last drop. Actually, this stuff's expensive, so I want to get the get all of it in there. You can get like a 3-pack on Amazon, so you get the 3-pack, comes out to be cheaper. And when you got 100 K trucks, you're gonna use them all. And I'm exaggerating, not 100. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, soon to be 5. I'm probably gonna need to sell one. So yeah, maybe be on the lookout for one of my K trucks that I might sell. And since I do YouTubes all the time, you're gonna know I took pretty good care of it. Kind of smells like paint almost. Like we just painted the walls in my house. Kind of smells like paint. Okay, so now that we got that, now the fun part, the green goo. I think it's green, it should be green in color, which is kind of fun. So you are going to need a funnel. It's a very awkward position to get oil in there. So definitely I'm not gonna be able to get this in there. So let's, I like Liqui Moly. I like Motul. Motul's good because that's I think that's more of a Japanese brand. Liqui Moly is also German. I mean, it's obviously German. Those are kind of the brands I use. If I'm in a pinch, I'll use the usually use Castrol. Okay, check this stuff out. This is pretty neat. It's green. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd look like you're adding coolant to the oil. Or maybe it's green, because if you have oil leaks, you can use a black light down there and find out where it's leaking oil from. It'll be interesting to see what color it turns after we hit 5,000 miles. And Liqui Moly even has orange oil. I think it's, there's Moly Gen and Next Gen or something, and it's orange. It's crazy. It's kind of fun. I mean, it's like Royal Purple when Royal Purple first came out, and it was purple oil, which was pretty cool looking. Me being excited about fun stuff, I just buy it because it looks cool. I'm just gonna check the dipstick and see what we're sitting at. And if you're not familiar where the dipstick is at on these things, another funky thing, it's actually right here on the passenger side, right beside the leaf spring. So here's your oil fill coming through the wheel well. Yeah, right there. There's your dipstick. Check your oil. There it is. So we're gonna check that real quick and see where we're sitting. Okay. Heater on, and it's okay. Banner looks like it's getting a little, it got blown around quite a bit in the winds. So let's check the drain. I mean the dipstick. Kind of sucks that it's in there because you got to be real careful. I can't talk. You got to be real careful not to touch anything in there because everything's got dirt and oil. I mean dirt and rocks and stuff. So it's kind of like, why would you put it in a location where it's gonna get dirt and garbage on it? Come on, Honda. So we are sitting, so with 2 quarts, can't really see, but I'm about 3/4 of the way up. So I got about another quarter to go, which means that when I start it, I'm probably gonna go down to halfway. Okay, started it up. I let it run for, I don't know, good 30 seconds or so. And we're going to check after putting in 2.5 quarts. We'll see where we're at. We're gonna let it kind of settle down, let the oil drip back down. There's also a motor mount on this side right here. I'm pretty sure on the trucks and the vans. You can see it right in your wheel well. I have, that one's ripped, completely ripped. So I bought a new one, so I'm going to be doing a motor mount video pretty soon, along with wipers, wiper arms, front and rear, because they don't make the back wiper arms, so I think I found a replacement that will work. And if you notice, the rear wipers are pretty unique to the wiper arm. You can't just go to the store and buy a new wiper. Maybe you could replace the blade, but not the whole wiper arm. I mean, the whole entire wiper blade itself, because it kind of like slides into the wiper arm. It's weird. Okay, so about 2.5 quarts. I'm a little over 3/4 of the way on the dip. I was about, let's see, I was about right there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more oil now that it's run through the system and filled up the oil filter. Probably gonna be pretty much 3 quarts. I mean 3 liters. Okay, so you can see I got a little bit left in here. Let's give that a check. No one likes a dirty oil hole. It looks like that is all the way to the top of the hatch marks. So I would say not quite 3 quarts or 3 liters, but I did add a little bit of Ceratec in there, so that could have taken up the exact amount of oil of 3 quarts or 3 liters. We will save a little bit left in the bottle for when it burns some oil to add later on. But yeah, so just know Liqui Moly sells them in liters, not quarts, but it is 1.06 quarts. So you'll be good with just 3 of those. I priced out 3 quarts. 3 of these, even though they're expensive for one, is cheaper than buying 5 liters or 5 quarts at one time. So pick and choose, have a look, buy a 5 quart and have 2 quarts left over for your next oil change, or just buy a few of these and then be done and not have to worry about it. I already have quite a stack of half empty oils from oil changes, and then I forget, so then they just add up and it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I was just like, I'll just get the little ones and be done with it. Okay, so oil's changed. We'll save this little bit for adding if we need to. And I'm gonna add, and usually at every oil change, I'll add something to the fuel, just to, you know, obviously help the carburetor and everything run smoothly along with the oil change. I'll usually add something like VP. VP's got like an octane boost and a cleaner all in one, so I'm probably gonna add that. But Marvel Mystery Oil works really good too. Seafoam works really good too. So there's quite a few things you could add. But yeah, that was the oil change. Hopefully that was helpful, guys. Again, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next video.